Hey guys, Skip Bedell here. We're at the Bedell house and we have our full bathroom and kitchen remodel project going on. If you've been following along with our video, you know we've done a complete demo here from the structure all the way out, took down a bunch of walls. We made 3 small rooms into one big kitchen and the bathroom off to the side. So we've gone through the whole process now of all the rough work, the framing, the structural, insulation, all of the mechanicals, the plumbing, the electrical is all put in. We have our drywall up. We have all of our structural beams up here now, which we're eventually going to wrap with some knotty pine wood along with these cleats. They'll all be matching beams across the ceiling. And now we've come to the point to when we're going to start thinking about the ceiling treatment that we want to put here. Now, when we were going through some ideas, we really want to do something different. And rather than just doing a texture, finish, or painting, or something like that, we came across this great product from this company, Fasade. Now, they make these awesome tiles. They're actually made out of plastic, but they look like the old-fashioned antique stamped tin ceiling tiles that you've seen in many old buildings. And they really have a huge selection of textures and designs, colors. They have a really very wide selection, and we decided that we're going to do this not only in the kitchen but also in the bathroom as well. We've already installed it in the bathroom, so come on in, let me show you what we did in here. As you can see, we used this galvanized steel look in the bathroom, and this is really going to give it a great unique look, something that you haven't seen before anywhere else. And that's the whole thing that we're trying to capture with this job. We want this this whole job to come out. When you walk through here, you're like, where did you get that? What is that? I've never seen anything like that before. So this is a really great product in that it's unique and it's easy to install. So this is what it looks like on the ceiling in the galvanized steel look. And if you come out into the kitchen, we'll show you, we're going to use this smoked pewter on our kitchen. And this is really a very cool looking tile. We have a lot of bronze and copper finishes going up in the kitchen here as far as our fixtures, and we have a beautiful bronze hood that we're putting in over the island. So we want to do something different, and they had so many nice selections of colors and textures. This is the one that we chose, and it's going to really pull in all the different metals and elements that we're working with here. Our look that we're going with here is kind of like a rustic industrial look, and we want everything to kind of look old and repurposed, and there's going to be a lot of old wood and reclaimed things and industrial looking lighting fixtures. So this really worked out great, and we're so happy that we're able to find this product. So as far as installing it, there's a couple of different methods that you can use. The manufacturer recommends using a PL Premium, which is from Loctite. This is actually a glue that you can put into a caulking gun. You can apply it to the back of the tiles with the caulking gun and then trowel it out with a notch trowel. Now, I tried that system and I like it. It works really well, but then coming across different things that I do in the line of construction, there's other methods of things that we use that I figured might actually work as an alternative. You know, something other than using the glue and a trowel, which I felt might be a messy project. This seemed like something great. We use this to spray on a plastic corner bead that goes on for drywall applications on the corners. Rather than the metal corner bead that you see nailed on, we will glue on the plastic corner bead, and it works great. This glue is very, very strong. Once you put it on, it's not coming off. So it seemed to me like this is a perfect match because this is really the same material as the plastic getting glued onto drywall. So I figured I'd give it a shot. I used it on the bathroom installation. It was very easy, no mess. It worked great, and that tile's never coming down. So this actually is something I'm going to demonstrate how to use this. And then, you know, of course, keep in mind that the manufacturer's installation method also works very well, whichever one you prefer. But this is a really nice alternative, and it actually is the one that I chose to use on our project. So some of the things that you're going to need here when you're doing this project, of course, you're going to need a tape measure. Very important. You're going to want to measure out your ceiling and find the center, snap some lines, and make sure that you're measuring out for your layout. Just like when you're doing anything with a design or a pattern, like when you're tiling a wall or tiling a floor, the layout is critical. You want to spend a lot of time in the layout and make sure everything is square and all your lines add up so it's the same on one side of the room as the other. And basically I did that. I snapped a bunch of lines center in both directions, and then I can work off of those lines and pull my measurements so the tiles will run center right down the room, and the same distance on either side will be the cutoffs. If you can see right here, I'm using a laser. Actually, this works really nice because this will also give me a plumb line that'll shoot straight up to the ceiling. Once I found my square, it shot that line right across the ceiling. So it's kind of hard to snap lines across the ceiling that has all these beams. Of course, it would be impossible to do that. So this laser actually is a really useful tool. It's not something everybody's going to have in their tool collection. I use it for a lot of different things, but it helped me get my center. Then coming the other way, it was easy to snap the center lines, and we can pull the measurements off of that. Okay, so tape measure. You're definitely going to want to spend some time on your layout. Make sure you have a square, because once you snap all those lines, you want to make sure everything is nice and square before you go to glue your tiles up. Because by the way, once you set these on the glue, they're not coming off. So make sure you have your layout right done before. Okay, so now I measured my spaces, and I figured out the widths that I need. These particular tiles come in 2 foot by 4 foot, 24 by 48 inches. They also make them in 24 by 24. I believe they may come in 12 by 12. I know they make them for drop-in grid ceilings as well. They have a little more rigidity to it. You can drop them in just like acoustical ceiling tiles. This is a glue-up setup. They're very thin. They're very, very easy to work with. This actually looks like one sheet, but there's actually 3 or 4 of them in here. So they're super thin, super lightweight. All right, getting back to the tools, you're going to want to have a straight edge you can mark your lines with. A speed square is helpful. When you're using this spray, you want to make sure you have some protection. So the nice part about this spray is that it's a heavy adhesive, meaning that it's not going to really remain airborne like a spray paint, that type of thing. So it's not blowing around the room. This is kind of a heavy product that when you spray it on, its whole objective is to stick. So all of the product really grabs onto. There's not much floating around the air, but just for protection, you always want to make sure you wear a good mask with a respirator that fits well. If not a full respirator, then at least wear a good mask. Eye protection and gloves is something that's really important. Okay, so that being said, I took all my measurements. We got the first couple of tiles up there. I'm going to demonstrate to you now. These tiles have been cut to length, and I'm going to show you how I glue them up. And it's actually really easy. Once you get the first couple up, then you just keep doing it. Every one's the same process. So also make sure that you have all the windows open, that you're well ventilated. Again, this stuff is not really going to remain airborne, but it's good to have good ventilation, mask, and eye protection and gloves when you're working with it. Okay, I'm going to mask up, and I'll show you how we do this. The first thing I like to do is spray it onto the ceiling first. So I've marked out my lines where I'm going to spray it, and then I come back and spray the tile. Now the object of contact cement is that you're going to put glue on 2 different surfaces. You're going to actually let them dry for about 20-30 seconds, and then when those 2 make contact, it forms a chemical reaction, and they actually weld themselves together, and that's what makes this glue so effective. You can spray it on just the tile or the ceiling, just one, it'll actually stick. But as a double measure, especially being that they're on the ceiling and hanging upside down, you want to make sure they have a really good bond. So you spray it to both surfaces and it'll make a contact and it's not coming apart. Okay, let me mask up and show you how we do this. We'll spray the ceiling first. You can get a pretty sharp line on this, so you can control where it goes very well. So I'm not going to get a lot of overspray onto my tile. It's good if we want to work in this direction and spray away from the tile. Nothing got onto the tile, so that's nice. It actually has a very sharp line. You can control this. No overspray on the tile. Okay, let's continue with the glue. Okay, you can see where I've marked my second line. I'm going to spray just a little bit beyond that, so we don't have to get too close to the next tile when we start spraying. Okay, now we come down, and I'm going to spray the back of my tile. Let that dry for 20-30 seconds. This is super easy. Anybody can do this. It's really, there's no mess involved. I've kind of set up a little area over here over this paper. This is a dark tile, so you want to make sure that which side you're spraying, so you don't want to waste it. But the black side is on the back, and that's the side you're going to apply the glue to. Same if you're using the trowel and the glue, same thing. So hanging it over the paper so I don't get overspray on anything, and it's really very simple. You just spray it. It covers a pretty wide area with this spray can. And make sure to go all the way out to the edges. And that's it. I get up the edge real good. And we're ready to go. Okay, so now we've let the spray on the ceiling already dry. We're going to let this hang for about 15-20 seconds or so. You can glue it up as little as 10-15 seconds. I like to let it dry just a little bit. And once these two bond together, it really makes a nice bond. Now the only thing is that when you're working with this, you don't really get a lot of chance to move it around. And that's the difference between using the trowel, is that glue will still stay a little bit pliable and workable, and you can move the tile around a little bit when you trowel the glue on. When you use a contact cement like this, when it touches, it's going to make contact, it's going to want to stay. So you kind of have to really, I would experiment a little bit with it and get used to working with it so you can see how this stuff bonds together. There's not a lot of margin for error with moving it around. So what I like to do is start with the end where they overlap. And I'm going to talk to you about the overlap in a minute too, because that's really important. So this joint right here, if you notice there's a center line going through the room, we're going to want to start on that center point and make sure those centers line up. That's really important. And once I get that on, I'm going to work my way over and overlap them. And now we can start gluing it up. And basically you're just going to press it up. And that is it. Now if you notice what I did with this joint, and this is really important, I'm going to talk to you about, it's part of the layout, but you always want to start from the side of the room that you're not going to be looking into the joint. So in other words, these joints overlap each other like that. And so we want to start from the back, so the overlap is always open to the back side. When we're walking into this room, we're going to look past that joint. Similar to when you're doing a scarf joint on a piece of molding, like a piece of crown molding or any other type of molding, you make a scarf joint, you always want to scarf it toward the back of the room. You want to make that miter cut toward the back. So if we're entering the room like this, we're not looking at the overlap this way to where we can see into the joint. We're looking at it this way so we see past it. So standing right here, there's no way that I can see that joint. Even if the joint was a little bit open, you wouldn't see it. So it makes that joint invisible. Now, if we were to start at the other end of the room, you would be looking into the joint, and if there was any opening there, you would see it. So that's important. Just another thing, like a little trick, like when you're doing your layout, you want to start away from the door, away from the side that you're walking into the room. Always start from the back and work your way toward the door. That's important. So as you can see, they stick up really easily, really nicely. They look fantastic. And what you can do after is just go back. If you see any little bubble spots or anything like that, just work it with your hand. Make contact with it. It's so easy to put up. And that's it, you're done. Move on to the next. Only about 40 more to go. So we really love working with this company, Fasade. They were able to show us a lot of different options and colors and different designs, and we got this great booklet that basically we can go through, and as you see, here's an example of their backsplash, but this really made it very easy to do the job. It shows all the different ways the tile can be used, and then when you go through it, it shows you how to measure if you're doing a backsplash tile, a wall tile, sealing either a lay-in for a grid or a glue-up, which is what we're using. And then it shows you all the different textures that they make, which is really just a huge selection of textures and designs that you can choose from. And then after you pick that, then you can pick from a huge selection of colors. So look at all these different colors. They really make it easy. And hopefully when we get all done, this is what our ceiling is going to look like. You can see in this kitchen here, it has a bronze style ceiling. And they have some beautiful crown molding that goes along with that as well. This is their website, fasadeideas.com. and their phone number. And once you go to their website, it's really easy to navigate, and it was very easy for us to pick through there and find a place where we could order some sample tiles, and they came within a week, and that made it so easy just to put these up on the ceiling and actually see what it's going to look like when it's on the ceiling rather than just looking at it from the book. You really got a good feel for the design and the color and how it works with the lighting in the room. So go onto their website, fasadeideas.com, get some samples, stick them up on the ceiling, and you'll see these things really look amazing. And check them out for the backsplash and wall panels as well. Really a great company, super great to work with, and you'll just love this stuff. I'm going to get back to putting mine up, and I'll see you guys in a little while.